and hit him, right? So I'm right here, I step off line, and there he is, okay? If I decide I want to go shorter, I leave the point right in his face. Okay? So again, the trick is keep it above your head, a little bit forward. Or the angle of the blade isn't going to work. Alright? And I'm, like I mentioned earlier, when you guys, if you're not wearing big gauntlets, you need to start playing with how your fingers move. I don't know if you guys saw on that second blow when Jan went, it wasn't on my shield. And it was very, very close to crushing my fingers. If I was in a regular thing, you would have hit. That's where it should be. My hand was close enough. Okay? That's the reality of the guard. This one really requires you to be very particular with your fingers. At least if you want to keep it. Okay? So, yeah. How many do you need? So, 10 seems excessive. So again, as he's coming in, step off line, bring it right across. You can end with the point threatening, or you can kill him in single time. Which is a beautiful thing. Alright? Let's try it out. Take it. Beat. You're going to do this verse out. So you're going to do this verse out. Parry it and hit it. Or at least parry it and be ready to thrust it. That's it. But now what I want you to do is there you go. Don't lean. Look at this. Forward and guard. There you go, perfect. You might catch him here. I guess you can catch it like that. Yeah, there you go. You generally never want to be it's correct. So I need to go higher, that increases that. But if it's too far back, also, the more I see that, the more I catch it, the better I go back down. Not very far. Not really. The only thing is that some guys will play down here, but like if you've got like a taller guy, then you find you're kind of like a weird thing, and you might not raise it. The only thing I tell people is don't let it, like, if you raise your arm, your tip farther back, with all your arms hanging. Yeah, keep your elbows. Yeah. I mean, reality, if we were really doing this with sharps, that's great, but that's close. And that's going to mess up the game, too. Yeah, you can. You can bring it right away. Oh, I'll attack you. There you go. Two, the long way. There it is. Here, kind of try to sword out. No, just sit up. Yeah, that's exactly what you'll do if he does that. Don't worry about dying. Right here. You get into a video guy, which is fine. I'll tell you. What? Well, you can switch the archer. Oh yeah, you can lean it and back side. Right past your head. Generally, unless you strike to that side. Yeah, so generally I'm going to do that just because, like, for instance, here I'm leaving that center line open. But if you switch it into the car, every time I started to move my blade, going back to my thought, like every time I started to move my blade and started to cross, just to parry it, right? Then yeah, I could go back behind it. Yeah, or just go to your head, depending on what kind of parry that is.
So the gnarly scene, I think, is like right where your eyeball is.
Yeah. But you could, I mean, theoretically, you could send that reverse shot.
That kind of little my head.
Like I said, you can go like this. Try it. Go from the top. Go from the mark. It's corner to the arc roll. All of it. Yeah. So I can go like that.
Great. For a second. So, Lischnauer tells us that there's 3 wonders, and this is the striker, the cut, and cross, and slice. It's basically the 3 ways I can basically wound you with my blade. I can do a big proper slice, or cut, and do a proper little thrust, or I can draw the blade, or I can push the blade, more like a common knife. Okay? So the important thing is, which is a kind of a beautiful, simplistic attitude that Lischnauer gives us, is basically his attitude is every time I attack you, I have the potential for one of those things or there should be. So you'll go for a cut, you'll go for a thrust, on occasion you go for a slice, but that one's a little bit rare. But as soon as I do stuff, my opponent screws things up. Right? Your plans are great until they meet the enemy. So in this instance, for instance, I'm throwing, let's say I'm attacking with my Zwerchhau, and Jan doesn't realize this is Zwerchhau, so he parries like it's a normal overhow, and I'll hit it. Right? I get that beautiful thing. I go, wow, boom, there's that strike that Lischnauer talks about. But then next time, or maybe before that, Jan's a little bit more careful, and every time I throw my attack, he steps backwards. Right? So he steps backward. Now, right? Yeah, if he parries, well, let's say he didn't parry, that's fine. There's the potential that Lischnauer tells me for my thrust. Okay? So it's going to end in that strike. Oh, I missed. I was too short. Or he extended the measure. Even if he did parry. If my point is in line, I can get it. We'll use that last one as well, where he just steps back, but I'm not as good as control. Right? I'm not as good on control. I've missed my opportunity to get my point in line. Right? Let's say I'm right here. I could try to bring it back, or I could run it in slice. Yeah. Even if Jan parried, right? I get to here and I overcommitted. Oh, I suck at what I do. Now I put it right in and slice. Okay? So Lischnauer is always kind of looking for one of these things. And it's the same thing when we talked about last week with some of the winding. It's the same situation. Again, Jan? So I can quickly close just go right away. Right? So I can wind to a thrust. I can wind to a strike. Right? coming in, pulling it back out on the neck.
Judging on this sort of stuff, like super tough.
Huh?
Like, is judging on slices super
Ridiculously tough. They rarely get called.
at all?
Yeah, they rarely get called. Unless you can get a guy who's really good at going and like, you know, and kind of pushing. Yeah, and you can see him just really pushing and
All the
getting.
time when you could see the head wrench sideways.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you're trying to throw the guy with the sword.
That's very cute.
Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, the slice is ridiculously
Like if
close.
the hands are, if they're in a bind up high, someone comes with a belly slice.
Oh, don't call that.
That's generally considered a cut, but it happens a lot.
Yeah, that'd be considered cut. That'll happen. Yeah,
That's happened.
yeah. So, but again, just the beauty of the simplicity of like everything you do is going to end in one of these three things. All right, and it might be based on your what you're trying to do, but it's also going to be affected by how he reacts to your initial reaction. Okay. So, and the nice thing about this Varsha though is, for the most part, it's really hard to go kind of beyond the center. We already talked about this. This short edge cut with my arms not crossed doesn't really allow me to continue in this direction. It always wants me to come back or to run off from the side it came from. Okay, it's not like this one where it can just keep going through the center. All right. So like I said, that demented helicopter. It's back and forth. Okay. All right. So it works very well